This video will cover how to market your show for the Edinburgh Fringe.
So this session is going to cover the Fringe Society's role in marketing the festival, marketing must-knows, some flyering tips, posters tips, digital marketing and using social media for your show, discounted tickets, any extra comms opportunities, and chatting a bit about enhanced performances as well. So lots to get through.
Lots and lots to get through, but all very exciting things. So firstly, it's probably important to note what the Fringe Society's role is in marketing at the Fringe. So the Fringe Society market the overall festival. So our job is to speak to audiences across the world, let them know that the Fringe is happening and bring in that attention on Edinburgh Fringe.
We have quite a few different online platforms, so it might be useful to just have a look at these, see the different followers we have, the kind of numbers that it brings in, because that's always really useful to see.
So we don't market individual shows. Our role is more about building awareness of the Edinburgh Fringe, deepening engagement with audiences, both in the UK but also internationally, and just generally shouting about the festivals. We're here to bring them in, and then we can pass them on to you to market your show.
So I guess with that in mind, we always recommend linking in with us and some of those key dates that are good to keep in mind. So we have structured on sale dates that land throughout the year running up to the festival. So these are really great times to be more shows are on sale. Are you one of these shows? Is now a really good time to shout about it. There's also a programme launch before the festival, which means that lots of different media outlets and people are engaging with the festival. That's a great thing to think about and shout about your show at the same time. And use hashtag edfringe in all content that you're posting. It always helps.
Yeah, so just while we're shouting about the festival, we're using hashtag edfringe and really shouting about the Edinburgh Fringe happening. As Martha says, a great time to kind of jump on that attention that we're getting. Just a few must-knows then when it comes to marketing. You are responsible for marketing your show.
You are allowed to flyer, still a huge part of the festival, but you cannot fly post, so you can't put posters up wherever in Edinburgh. There's no golden rule. Please get creative. Some of the best marketing strategies at the festival are the most wonderfully creative things going on. And it's very much up to you. So it all depends on kind of what works best for your show and your target audience specifically.
Yeah, so we're going to talk a bit about what those marketing options are. But as Martha says, this is the fun bit. This is the bit where you can really be unique and creative in the way that you're talking about your work that you've put together. Don't take this as a sort of to-do list of all the things you have to do in marketing. These are just some of the options. You might have some yourself that we've not thought of, that we don't know about. That's what we kind of want to see at the Fringe.
For sure. So the first thing we'll chat about is flyering, which you will almost definitely have heard of, or papering. And it is the kind of in-person marketing. It is being out in the different streets, in the crowds of people, handing them flyers for your show, getting them excited about your show. So people love or hate flyering.
Yeah, it's a real Marmite of the Fringe.
It really is. It could be so much fun, and you see certain shows absolutely loving it, and some that it's just not for you, and that is okay. There are other options of how to market your show, but we'll give some top tips of how to flyer in the best way possible, because we've seen both ends of good flyering and bad flyering.
Exactly.
So the first thing to think about is your elevator pitch. And what we mean by this is having that 1 to 2 sentences at the ready, that if you were in an elevator with someone, how would you sell your show in a short, snappy, exciting way that gets them invested but leaves them wanting more so that they actually come and see the show.
Yeah, it's that real hook. You want to basically say something that gives them enough but leaves them wanting to say, wait, tell me about that. I want to hear about that a little bit more. So have that kind of elevator pitch ready. The other thing to think about when it comes to flyering is cross-promoting or exit flyering. Now, it might sound counterintuitive, but basically, there's thousands of shows on at the Fringe. There's going to be ones that are similar to yours, going to be ones that are exploring the same themes. So why not help each other and cross-promote that? So you could, for example, I've seen people do this on the Royal Mile, which is really nice to see. They'll actually do maybe 20 minutes of flyering someone else's show, and they'll just swap flyers and talk about someone else's show, because sometimes it's easier to talk about what someone else is doing rather than what you're doing. So if you can kind of tackle that with another Fringe show and do that sort of two-pronged approach, that's really nice. You can then exit flyer their show. So just as long as you've got permission from the artist, just ask them, hey, see when your show's done, can I stand at the end and say, if you enjoyed that, you might like this. That is a really great way, because you've got that target audience there. You're not taking away an audience from another show, you're sharing an audience, which is really great. And you're helping the audience as well find other things that they might like.
For sure. And what makes a good flyer? Sounds obvious, but there's a few tips here. Firstly, double-sided. Please make sure they're double-sided. You have all of that room, so make sure you're using both sides of it. It genuinely makes a difference. Using like quality paper as well.
There's the scrunchability test.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Imagine it's in your hand. How easy is it to scrunch? You don't want it to be easy to scrunch and throw away. You want it to feel nice in your hand so that people go, oh, wait a minute, I was about to throw this beautiful flyer away. Let me have a look. I want to go see that show. So yeah, do the scrunchability test.
I like that.
Very official, really official.
Make sure you have all the information on there, genuinely. Make sure the venue, the time, the dates that your show is not on, have all of that information on there. Some venues might also have their own banner that they want for you to have at the bottom of your flyer, so always check that with your venue as well.
It might sound obvious to put your time, dates, venue.
Every year.
It might feel obvious, but some people, when they brought a show to the Fringe, didn't put the time or the venue on their flyer, and that's not good. So take time at the start, really think, have I got all that key information? Because otherwise you're going to be sitting like I was with thousands of stickers sticking on the time and date to the flyers, and you don't want to do that. So yeah, time and date, put it on.
Have a really like snazzy image that represents your show well, and this is also where it can link up with your show image that you've registered with as well. But yeah, have that really exciting, eye-catching image that matches your show more than anything else. Try not to worry too much about what other people's flyers are looking like, what makes sense for your show and for your audience.
Yeah. So yeah, targeted flyering as well. So I think sometimes what puts people off of this flyering is that kind of going up and talking to strangers and just sort of randomly speaking to folk. So really think about how you're going to target your audience whilst you're out and about. So think about, who your target audience are and therefore where they might be. For example, you might be doing a children's show. So therefore it's going to be families that you want to target when you're doing your flyering. Where might they be during their day? Maybe they're going to one of the national museums. You could ask to see if you could leave some flyers there, or maybe flyer outside of that building. If it is more of like a late night adult audience that you're looking for, bars. See if there's a couple of bars that will let you leave those flyers. Does your show maybe explore a specific theme, or could it link to, I don't know, like a local business? And again, you could leave the flyers in an office, for example. So yeah, really think about targeting your approach with the flyering. The random flyering can be fun. Yeah. I enjoyed it. Some people hate it. I enjoyed it, but doing a more targeted approach can feel a little bit less daunting, and it means as well it's probably easier to spark a conversation with those people.
You had a great tip the other day of do like 10 minutes of bad flyering and get it out the way each day.
Get it out your system, just go out and do bad flyering. So go out and do the come and see my show, come and see my show, come and see my show. Get it out, reset, have a coffee, and then go and do your good quality flyering.
Some conversations.
Yeah. And just on the quality, it's better to do quality flyering rather than quantity of flyering. So it's not about spending hours and hours and hours. It's not like if you spend all day, flyering, that doesn't necessarily equal ticket sales. It's about the quality of your flyering, the conversations that you're having, reaching that target audience.
And then finally, location. So have a think of try and avoid busy streets really, because then you're shouting against lots of people. Aim for those sort of lunch spots, and always, just thinking about who your target audience is as well and where it makes sense for you in the city to find them. If you're ever unsure when you're doing it as well, come and chat to us. We can help you regroup of like, okay, it's not working there near that venue, or it's not working here, it's too busy. Regroup. We can have a think about where's best.
Yeah. A little bit of flyering etiquette, I'd say.
Yeah.
So I think it's that thing, it's sharing the space with other people rather than competing. Also thinking about what venue you're part of, definitely go and flyer at that venue, and then also their sort of other venues across the city, but don't go to a different venue and flyer. You kind of stick with your venue operator, and that's kind of the flyering etiquette. And if you stick to that, then everyone's kind of got fair space and a fair chance to speak to their audiences. You can also hire people to flyer for you. If you're listening to this and you're like, this is not my bag, but I think it would be really good for my show, then you can hire people to flyer on your behalf, which is a really great way. These people are pros at flyering and selling shows. They have thick skins. They can be out in all weathers. So yeah, that's an option as well. You can speak to maybe local student groups or community groups that are going on again and do a bit more of that targeted flyering approach.
We'll put some links in the description as well of how to find those sorts of groups, but something that's quite useful if you're hiring someone else is to have them see the show right at the beginning as well, so they know what they're selling and they know what they're talking about. So that can go a long way. Cool, so we've spoken a lot about flyering, but a lot of it also applies to your poster. So similarly, think about the specs of this. And it's, yeah, again, having that really exciting image for your show. Obviously, this one doesn't need to be double-sided, but it does need to have all of that information on there easily. And if you've got any reviews or any audience quotes from the show previously, is there a way you can have that on your poster so that it really stands out? Because you will be alongside a huge amount of posters, which is super exciting, but how do you want to stand out in that?
Yeah, and I think so if you're going down the postering route, definitely speak to your venue and see if they can put up posters in their venue for you. If you're at the Fringe for a full run, it's a good idea to have a little bit of a supply for your venue so that every maybe few days or maybe once a week you can go back and update that flyer, because that is that poster. So you can go back and update that poster and make sure there's always a fresh one there. Because you know, audiences come in, they're looking for a show, they'll look around the box office, and if yours is there nice, clean and ready, that might just help draw attention to your show. There is, as Martha mentioned earlier, no, what's it called?
Fly posting.
No fly posting allowed in Edinburgh. So you're not allowed to just go and stick your poster up anywhere that you like. And that's because the Edinburgh City Council do organised postering. So they will select a company that runs the postering across the city.
It would be chaos if not.
Chaos.
This is the best way to do it. It would be absolutely bizarre.
Nice and organised. Yeah. So yeah, so everyone knows where they stand. So yeah, each year there'll be a company that's running that postering. We'll put the details in the description of who that is currently. So the no-fly posting, you can though of course approach maybe businesses or venues that might be related to your show, maybe some cafes, and just ask their permission. They might be willing to put it up in their window, but always just have that conversation with them before doing it. So we're going to talk a little bit about digital marketing. So when it comes to digital marketing, I think the first thing to think of is, are your audience engaging with social media, for example? Are they online? Because if not, this might not be an area that you need to explore at all. Let's say your audience will be engaging with material online, and then digital marketing is a really good thing to think about.
So if you're on any like social media platforms, sounds obvious, but remember to use hashtags and tags. So use the edfringe hashtag and different variations. Can you add in locations or genre hashtags or any specific trends of hashtags at that point?
Is there a fun video going around? Do it.
Use it.
Jump on.
Do the thing. Tag us and any other accounts as well. So other artists, if they're happy for you to do so.
And tag us as in the Edinburgh Festival Fringe Society. Don't tag Martha and Kirsty. We will. Our profiles will get you nowhere.
No one's following me.
No one. So yeah, tag the Edinburgh Festival Fringe Society to try and help boost that online engagement for your show. Another great way when it comes to digital marketing is to think about how you can link in with other shows. Mm-hmm. So sometimes there's kind of like the three-step rule when it comes to online marketing or sort of marketing in general. Now, I heard this years and years ago, but I think it does still apply. So for every 3 posts that you do, 1 should be shouting about your show. So 1 can be like, come and see my show. This is when it's on. This is what time it is. This is the venue. Like, please come buy a ticket. This is how you do that. So 1 post should be about that. 1 post should be about engaging with your target audience. So not actually talking about your show, but maybe you're saying, hey, does anyone have any good coffee recommendations in Edinburgh? Or tell me about some great shows that you've seen. You know, doing something that's getting your audience to engage with you and to essentially speak with you and talk to your platform as well. And then the 3rd post is to shout about kind of the wider Fringe Festival and what's going on. Show that you are part of this big, exciting festival that's happening. Shout about other shows, sort of tag other people's shows and things that you've seen and things that you really like, or make a couple of recommendations and kind of, just show that you're part of this and you're excited about the festival. That can go way further than just constantly shouting about your own thing. It just becomes a little bit tunnel visioned, a little bit boring for your target audience as well. You can kind of open that approach a little bit and think about how else you can engage. And that's the thing, if you tag another show and shout about them, they might do that back to you, which is ultimately helping you promote your show. So yeah, think of that sort of 3-step rule.
So we'll chat a little bit about the different sort of online platforms and I guess how to make the most of those. So there's a few that you can choose from, and I guess before we dive into it, never feel like you need to be across all of them. I think it's really useful to hone in on where you already have a bit of a following or what's actually useful rather than shouting out and to avoid when maybe there aren't that many people engaging with it yet. So work with what you've got, I guess. If you're using Instagram, for example, it's very image/video focused. So you want to have like high quality images if you can, but also are there like rehearsal journey videos or updates you can give that are very, very visual? That can be really useful for Instagram.
Yeah, there's Facebook. A lot of people say Facebook's dead and gone. It's not. There's still a use to Facebook. Lots of people still do use Facebook groups. They might forget that they're on a Facebook group. But a lot of community groups still use that. Local businesses often set up their websites there. So again, if there's something that's connected to your show, maybe in its themes, you can use Facebook to engage with that specific audience, which is really, it's sort of easy and accessible way to connect with that audience.
There's Blue Sky as well, which can be really useful, especially for interacting with other artists. You can chat to them online, shout about each other's show, that sort of thing.
And then TikTok, as we said before, jump on the trend. If there's a silly video going out, and you could do that and talk about your show, or maybe even if you're in Edinburgh and you can jump on a trend with another show, that's a great way again to share your followers and sort of cross-promote.
And there's so many other options. We
these are just a few.
Chat through all of them, but there's things like Google Business, profiles, YouTube, podcasts. LinkedIn is a big one.
Love a LinkedIn post.
Use your website if you have one, or are there blogs that you want to engage with or you write about. So there's so many things you can do online. It's kind of a limitless field.
Yeah, slightly scary, but limitless. Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about discounted tickets, as these can be a really great way to boost your show. We've got some that Martha's going to talk about that the Fringe Society run, but also you can speak to your venue directly if there's sort of other discounted ticket options you would like to do. Yeah,
it's probably useful to say that word of mouth is probably still the biggest marketing strategy at the Fringe. Like if you have people talking about your show, it's the most effective way to spread the word, I guess, about your show to others. So a good way to do that is having discounted tickets if it's within your budget and if it's something that you want to opt into. Never feel like you have to, but it's a good way to just get a few more bums on seats to help generate that word of mouth. So a couple of options that we have are the 2-for-1 offers. So you can select and opt into this when you register your show, or you can opt in later as well if you want to. And then there's also the 2-for-1 days. These usually land on the first Monday and Tuesday of the festival. So it's a great opportunity to try and get some more people in right at the start, so you can create a bit of a buzz about your show. And
because what we'll be doing is we'll be shouting about it's 2-for-1 day.
Like go.
Fringe audiences, come and book those tickets. So if you've opted into that offer, then we're kind of helping direct the audience, and then you can grab their attention to come to your specific show.
And always check that those dates fall into the dates of your show. Sometimes it's easy to click yes, I want to do that, and you rely on it, but you forget that maybe your show isn't on Tuesdays, for example. So genuinely do always double check it. But it's a great way to build audiences and have that bucket speech ready at the end of your show to be like, thank you for coming in to see this, spread the word, tell more people about it, because that's kind of what those days are for. Now that the key bits are kind of done, there's a few opportunities for you to think about. First one is you can also purchase ads in the printed programme and also on our website as well.
Yes, you can. I agree that you can do that. And again, I suppose it's a really great way because audiences are often coming to our website, for example. So if your ad's kind of popping up on top, it can be a helpful way to boost engagement for your show. Martha mentioned this before, but just to reiterate, there's those key moments throughout the year that we're shouting about things, and during the Fringe, so like the 2-for-1 days. So if you can kind of jump on the back of them whilst we're shouting about it, use the same hashtags that we're using, tag us, because we're kind of driving up this engagement. So if you can kind of utilize that, that is really useful. As we've mentioned, we at the Fringe Society, our role is to market the overall festival. There's thousands of shows each year, so we couldn't possibly market each individual show. But in saying that, we do have some opportunities each year to help you kind of promote and engage with our audiences. So for example, we've got Quick Flyer Friday. This happens from about spring until the end of August. If you use the hashtag Quick Flyer Friday on a Friday, when you're doing your social media posts, it means that our teams will try and share as much of that, as much of those posts as they can. We've also had things like
Fringe trailer.
That's a great one.
So there'll be a moment in the year that you'll be able to submit some video footage to be potentially included in the Fringe trailer. Again, there's so many shows that put forward footage, so try and have the most like visual thing submitted as possible.
Yeah, and so there's different things that we will be doing each year. So just check out the description below for what we're currently doing and what current opportunities there are for you. And also, I think local. when it comes to marketing, I think we often get a bit stuck in how do I engage with the audience in Edinburgh right now, but actually there's a lot of work you can do at home, before the Fringe, locally, to try and boost that engagement. You know, if you're from a wee town in Scotland and you maybe do a bit of marketing locally, say maybe you're in a couple of newsletters in the community, or you've got an article in the newspaper about the fact you're bringing a show to the Fringe. Anyone in that wee town who is reading that or seeing that and is thinking of going to the Fringe, guaranteed they're going to come and see your show. Okay, so think small and local first, and then build up to how that kind of translates when you come to the Fringe. You know, there's like, you could maybe be on a local podcast or a radio channel, or maybe there's a TV channel that you could get some promotion with. So yeah, think about those local opportunities well, because they can really go a long way in engaging and building that audience, and therefore selling tickets for your show during the Fringe.
Last but not least, it's really important to think about enhanced performances, and if you're providing these, how do you market this to the audience who would be benefiting from that? So when we say enhanced performances, this could be things like audio descriptions in your performances, touch tours, signed performances, relaxed performances. There's lots of options, and also you can get in touch with us to chat more about what that could be for your show. But if this is something you're offering, which is wonderful, make sure that you are telling the audience that needs it about that.
So just make sure you add those details to your flyer, make it really clear, add it to your poster as well. If you're doing any social media engagement, maybe tag a few organisations that could help spread the word about your enhanced show. The final thing that we were going to talk about as well, I just want to circle back to the word of mouth aspect, because all of these things kind of help influence the word of mouth, but really thinking about your word of mouth and how you're going to generate that at the Fringe can be a £0 marketing tool. There's lots of different ways, lots of folk have different tips and tricks for this, but I think a cool way to think about it is how can you put the first £5 in your hat like you would if you were a busker? So how can you kickstart that little bit of engagement? For example, can you tell your friends and family if they're coming to see your show, they have to come on the first night, and they have to then help talk about your show and shout about your show without letting on that is your sister or your brother? Is there things like that you can do?
And have them leave an audience review.
Yeah, exactly.
So useful, sounds obvious. Get them typing out that quote that you can then use.
Yeah, it really helps. And I think it's when it comes to word of mouth, thinking of those little things that you can do. Can you chat to your box office staff and let them know that maybe you're at the Fringe on your own and you don't have a big team with you? Maybe they can help shout about your show a little bit. As I say, pull in those favours with your friends and family, even if they're not in Edinburgh. If you're coming across internationally, can they be shouting about it to anyone they know in the UK or in Scotland? So that none of that costs any money. It just costs a little bit of effort and creative thinking, which you're all going to be good at because you are Fringe artists.
And use that bucket speech. Anyone you get in, just really reiterate how important it is to you that they spread the word about your show. Maybe share a little bit about your journey and bringing the show to the festival. Get them engaged in your work and what you're doing, because that will really help them chat to someone else who's turned around in the queue and asked, if you've seen anything good, you want to be the first person that they mention, and having that chat with them at the end of a show can really, really help them mention your show first.
Yeah. So that is how to market your show at the Edinburgh Fringe in a nutshell, easy peasy. But yes, as we said before, all the links and resources you might need are in the description below. What should they do, Martha?
They should like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe for more Fringe content.